welcome back to Chicago Beyond the Grind. Today I have Paul here with me, who is a partner at PwC, an author, and a professor at Northwestern School of Management. So let's dive into your consulting background first. What were your undergrad and grad degrees?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, great to be here. Undergraduate, I went to Washington University and had a degree in political science. And then I went back to graduate school at Kellogg, and I focused, I think, on strategy and marketing.
Nice. And so what first drew you to consulting, and how did you know that was the path that you wanted to go down on?
Yeah, definitely didn't know it was that. Consulting is really a good experience when you're not sure, because it gives you exposure to lots of different problems and different industries and all kinds of different situations. So I really joined consulting because I thought it'd be a good learning experience. And I expected to stay maybe 6 months or a year or 2 years maximum.
Yeah.
And then figure out kind of what I wanted to do after that.
Nice. And so was that your first job coming out of college? You knew you wanted to go into consulting from there, or did you find it out later on?
Yeah, it was actually after graduate school. So after college, I joined an executive training program at Macy's.
Oh, nice.
So that was fantastic. It was in New York and provided all kinds of experiences working in the stores, being a buyer, thinking about planning. I did that for about 5 years before applying to graduate school.
Nice. And so what's the biggest lesson you've learned from your role in consulting?
Biggest lesson. It's great to be on a learning curve. One of the things that's amazing about consulting is that you're always learning something new. You're learning about new problems in the world. You're learning about new people. You're learning about new organizations. You're learning about new, sort of analytical methods, new technologies that are coming out. You're always kind of pushing yourself to study new things and figure out new examples. I remember, as an example of this, in my maybe first or second year, suddenly someone called me and said, "We've got to go figure out the snow chain market." I was like, "What are snow chains?" I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
They're something that goes around your tire to help you when it's really snowy outside. So I had to go figure out how to learn this. How was I going to ask people questions? How was I going to analyze it? So it's really a good experience if you want to push yourself to learn new things.
Nice. And moving on to your graduate background, so you went to Northwestern, and now you're teaching at Northwestern. So what is kind of something that you want to tell college students, like looking back in hindsight, like now that you've been in both shoes?
I mean, teaching is a great honor. I certainly didn't really expect to be in that position, nor did I, think of my career as how do I become a teacher or professor. I was very fortunate in that we were doing some work at Kellogg, actually helping them with their strategy. And we were working with a group of professors who, at the end of that work, had seen the book that we had written and thought it would make a lot of sense to include that in their curriculum and have us teach a class. So that's, 14, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Been doing it ever since. It's been a great, great experience. I think as far as, people that are in college thinking about, what they might want to do, some are going to want to teach. And there's people that have that clarity and they're like, this is what I want to do and I want to be an expert on this topic. And a great way to be an expert is to go into the field of academia because you can teach, you can research. But other people are not sure. And at some point in your career, you may gain a lot of knowledge where students might benefit from your experience. And so you can always pick up teaching down the road, even if it's not something that you imagine for yourself right away.
Nice. And so going back to your books, what inspired you to write a book, and how do you even go about that process? Just give us a little insight to that.
Yeah, well, my high school English teacher once had met me years later and realized I'd written a book, and she was pretty shocked.
Yeah.
Because I was not the best English student. So I think writing a book is many things. You clearly have to have an idea around what you want to communicate. There's got to be some problem or opportunity that you think the world, or at least some subset of the world, wants to or needs to hear. So that's really important. But writing a book is super complicated and very difficult. I found the process, even the last book we wrote, it's not gotten easier.
Right.
Partly because when you write, you're not sitting across, the table or next to someone to explain what it is you think. They're only going to have your words there. They can't ask you a question, and so you have to write in a way it's going to be very clear what your message is and can be interpreted based on different people's experience. So it's a great, it's been a great experience to write. It's taught me a lot, but it's definitely difficult.
Yeah, and how long does it take to write a book? You make many drafts, and because it's like so long, it's not like a one-page essay. It's like, how do you keep everything in organized?
Yeah, I mean, today people can write books pretty quickly and self-publish.
Right.
But I don't have that experience.
Yeah.
Our experience is working with Harvard Business Press,
Mm-hmm.
and because they're an academic-based sort of journal and an organization, they go through peer review, which means you submit a draft, they review it, they provide edits, but at some point they send out your book to your peers, and you don't know who they are, they're not named, and those peers critique the book and the manuscript. And then you have to respond, and you may have to do that multiple times. And
Yeah.
so that process is pretty rigorous,
Yeah.
which means, to answer your question, it can take, at least a year. It
Wow,
usually
yeah.
usually took us sometimes 2 years to finish a book.
Wow. Oh my gosh. And so, what's one piece of advice you would give to someone who wants to follow in your footsteps?
Well, I think the best advice that people have given me is to, make sure you're doing something that you really love, but also something that pulls upon your strengths. I think too often, we hear about careers like everybody's doing this and everybody's doing that, and this is how you can be really successful.
Yes.
But maybe that's not something that you would enjoy, but more importantly, maybe it's not something that would use your strengths. So try to find a career that people are going to really appreciate what you're doing and what you can contribute, and matches some of the things that you've got superpowers with, rather than just following maybe what you
Right.
think you should be doing. And so that's my best advice.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. This was really insightful. And if anyone else has any further questions, please leave them down below.